Fantastic. So first of all, just greetings everybody. And My name is Sundar, part of Automation Anywhere channel team in ASEAN. And first, I would like to say my heartiest congrats and thank you to VST ECS Philippines for organizing this fantastic event. I think span over a few days. It couldn't come in a better time as the world is trying to move on from the pandemic and everything the last 2 years. And technology, the one denominator has been constant throughout this journey is technology has been our backbone in making us survive and also sometimes thrive from coming out of this pandemic situation. So I hope everyone is doing very well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I've got 30 minutes to share with you some of our latest trends in intelligent automation and how Automation Anywhere is helping some of our clients. Without any further ado, please allow me to share my presentation with you today. Couple of seconds. Cool. I hope my screen is able to share in this presentation. Okay. Cool, let's get started. So I just wanted to give you a little introduction about what is a digital workforce, what is intelligent automation, and what we do in this space of technology, one of the fastest growing technology field, double digit over the last 3-4 years. So I'm very excited to present this presentation in particular with the audience today. Okay, just one slide about who we are as a company. We are Automation Anywhere, the leader in intelligent automation and digital workforce around the globe. And as you know, one of the things that I always catches my eye whenever I look at this particular slide, it's that 2.9 million plus digital workers working. So what it means is basically, almost close to 3 million digital workers are automating some of the business critical and mission critical operations and back-end office processes as we speak today. So that's something that's we're always motivated by that number. For a sort of jerk at that means that actually if you take each of these digital workers as a physical human, that makes us the largest employer in the entire world. So just that with that, just giving a little introduction about Automation Anywhere. Okay, I want to start today's topic, just talking about the biggest white elephant that's in the room. It's about this great, the great migration. Now we are talking about the great resignation, right? So we are in a state where the whole world, especially the tech world, is in a shock of how many people are moving jobs or in between jobs. They just resign as a way to actually fight back against the work that's been going around in the world for the last couple of decades. So one of the recent surveys done by Microsoft shows us that about 40% of the entire global workforce is ready to quit. So that we are talking about close to 2.4 billion people, right? So a huge number of people that wants to quit working and they just want to either take a break or either they want to move to another job. So that's the greatest question that it's in the mind of every C-suite or any of the employers of the organizations. And which are the industries? We just dive deeper and then we find out which industries are in particular affected by this great resignation, this particular move. And then we find out that it's not specifically targeting a specific industry. As you can see, almost every industry is feeling the pain, right? So be it in the retail industry, be it in the F&A, transportation, hospitality, technology is definitely leading the pack, and the healthcare as well, because we all know that healthcare has been under immense pressure for the last couple of years. It's very understandable that people are a bit tired and they're trying to move on. And then just a little bit on the insights into why this is happening, right? So this is again very important to understand that almost 58% of those people that are resigning are basically, they say that they are just burnt out. They've been doing extra hours. They are working at home, and then there's no sense of proper time management stuff. And then it actually eventually leads them up to getting burned out doing the same repetitive job without any excitement of meeting people. So it's very understandable. I think I would also agree with me on that particular metric. We have the majority, as you can see, 75% saying that the existing employee is not really investing into their the older employees. Rather, they're looking into like new employees, and they're not feeling that they are having the progression that they want in their current position. And finally, it's the lack of motivation. I think also it's tied loosely to the burning out factors that a lot of employees feel without much of like being able to provide to the employer. They feel that there's not much growth that they can expect in their current role. They're looking for opportunities elsewhere. So these are basically just the metrics, and these are actually very eye-opening, not just for employers and organizations, but also just the human workforce in general. I just wanted to just give a perspective what we are what we are upon right now. And we did a lot of surveys, as one of the leaders in the in intelligent automation. We wanted to really understand what's going on in these modern enterprises and what are some of the key challenges they are facing. And then these are some of the findings in the top 6 reasons that actually we collected back from those feedbacks. Number one is the customers are feeling that they have too many legacy systems. They keep adding more and more applications as the things develop, but they never let go of their existing legacy systems. So they kind of feel stuck with that old applications. And they are pretty much useless, but they are critical for their operations to carry on. So they need to find a way to migrate, move, and upgrade those old legacy systems. The second one is, as I said, there's too many manual processes. So people are working day in and day out, doing data entry, data validation, very boring, mundane, repetitive tasks. I would just if you take a pause and then think about your work, I'm certain there is always a 10-20% of your work, your daily work that you think it would be better to have someone do it for you, right? Is there a way to make it more efficient or automated in some way that you're not really motivated in doing this copy pasting and verifications, validations, and so on and so forth? That actually also leads to that lack of motivation and also getting burned out eventually. And the customers are changing every day. Every day, a customer needs a white glove service almost. So you're supposed to navigate and move with what customer is looking for. End of the day, every business out there is out there to actually serve a customer in a certain way, and then the customers really becoming the the king, right? And we all know there are disruptors coming from in every spectrum of the industries. The big software giants are getting into traditional businesses like automotive, be it banking, financial sector, loan microfinances. And there are lots and lots of startups that are trying to disrupt the way that the world used to work. So, it's very important for the organizations to become very nimble and adapt very quickly to all these dynamic factors that's going around us. And now we talked about the employee perspective. Let's talk about the employer's perspective. For organizations, what they expect. So most of the CFOs and the CDOs and CIOs. So what they expect is they don't expect the employee to just deliver what they are hired to do. They're always expecting the employee to provide that much more value that will actually help the business to weather all this the headwinds and challenges that they would face. So there's always a demand of doing more for your company or your organization. So that's another focus there from the C-suite. And aptly, I just had Fortinet from Jerome talking about security aspects. So we know that every day the world is facing this threat of cybersecurity issues and viruses, and very commonly known as a ransomware. Where people are making a lot of these hackers are making a lot of money by hijacking workplace workstations. So that could actually be like millions of dollars in loss for the business, for the organization. So the organizations, I think one of the key aspects for them is to make sure that they ring fence and they support their security infrastructure and so on. And finally, the last but not the least, by any means, is your regulatory requirements. So, like if we're operating in a specific sector, like in BFSI, banking, finances, insurance sectors, like you actually come under a purview of your local authority, and they are very demanding, and they keep changing their rules and regulations, like be it reporting, be it the auditing, external auditing, and compliance matters, right? So it becomes a very taxing job for the industry, for the enterprises, and the costs associated with that, they're not very cheap. So these are basically the top 6. I believe, like you could relate to some of these, being actually that your organization is going through, as we speak. So just diving into that particular one particular point, right? So where we talked about the disparate legacy systems. Okay, so what in this slide is basically, so we talked about the Great Resignation. We talked about all the challenges and headwinds and enterprises and modern enterprises are facing today. And the answer is very simple, right? So everybody we're going to talk, they're going to say, okay, you need a digital transformation of some sort to come out of this challenging phase into like a thriving phase. So digital transformation is no more a negotiable movement within an enterprise, but it becomes so important that it cannot survive without a properly laid out digital transformation program for your enterprise. But most often, like as you would actually have learned or heard, that many of these digital transformation initiatives never achieve what they set out to do in the first place. Only about like 40 to 50% succeed. The remaining 40-50% they fall short more often than not. The reason that is because this is one of the key reasons for that is, as I said, there are just too many applications. Okay, once again, like I would like you to take a pause and just think about every day you walk into your office and then you have open your laptop, or you're getting into your desktop. Think about the applications that you need to navigate to get through your day. How many applications are you actually have to use it just per day, right? I myself, being in an automation company, I got like close to 25 applications that I use for various different processes and tasks. It could be as simple as an email client, like an Outlook. It could be like a productivity tool, like an Office 365, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on and so forth. If you're working in a back office operation, then you have like ERP systems like your SAP, Salesforce, all the IBMs of the world, and so on and so forth. So you just see that your front office, your back office, your the management staff, everybody is using their own set of applications. And it becomes really robotic for humans to start operating into multiple applications. Now you can say, hey Sundar, that's great. Like the simple answer would be like, let's go and make a link. Let's make a bridge between these applications, and then problem solved. And there lies the biggest challenges. Okay, so when we go to, let's say we go to Salesforce, and then we say, hey, I'm using a Zendesk for my service management. Can you make like adapter, or can you build a bridge between these two applications so they can talk to each other? So that's in an ideal world, that'll be great, but we don't have that, unfortunately. So everybody is their own. Everybody talks their own language. That's why we need humans to basically move the data across the applications. And that's where intelligent automation comes and solves this problem. Very important problem, a niche problem, but having very massive outcomes for the businesses. So our PA solution sits on top of your existing processes, your existing applications, be it front office applications, back office applications, productivity tools, collaborative tools, be it anything, right? So it comes and sits on top of your existing applications, and it makes a very transparent bridge. So it becomes much easier for all these silo, disparate solutions to actually talk to each other very well, right? So that's basically bringing everything together and into a single pane of glass as well. So that's intelligent automation. All right. So I also want to address another question that that definitely like pops out to everybody. So you're talking about automation. Is it going to replace me? Is robots replacing us? So I think this slide would make it much clearer that how we are actually ring fencing ourselves into what we are doing, what we excel at, and then what are the stuff that we need to delegate to a robot. Very simple, like, as humans, we are the best in problem solving. We are the best decision makers. We are best in networking, collaborating, coming up with the imaginative power, right? So eventually AI will have that, like probably like 20, 30 years down the line, perhaps, but currently they are not matured at that level. So never in my 2.5 years in RPA field, I've come across a customer that said, hey, thanks to your system, thanks to your application, we have cut 20% of our workforce. Okay? So always come across instances where our customers have said, thanks to your system that I could free up 60 minutes, 2 hours of a day's time at work for my employees. So the employees feel they're more motivated. They're providing more value to the business. And just think about like having 1 hour of your day given back to you. What can you do? And imagine if you are an organization with thousands and thousands of employees, that turns into like thousands and thousands of hours in saving every single day. Right, so we leave everything else to the robots. The robots can do repetitive stuff, those that are like prone to errors, that are SLA, very tight SLAs. Let's give it everything, like we can delegate as much as possible. So we do the things that we do the best. So that's our philosophy at Automation Anywhere when it comes to digital workflows. Okay, I'll give you a little example or just a case in point about what I was talking about here. So this is a simple process. Everybody knows about this process. This is a simple quote to cash, right? So you can also think about like as a consumer, we do online shopping. So we go to online, we browse a website, or we use a mobile app. We go and like download it, or search for something interesting, and then we place an order. And then like we just get it delivered, right? Like from the logistics side. So this is a process that happens in between, right? From the ordering side process all the way to like actually paying the money back to the vendor. The first thing, as you can see, there are multiple, these what we call the swim lanes. They are different departments, and you can see the number of people, number of applications that are involved in an existing quote to order or quote to cash process. So let me play this little animation. So as you can see, as the customer is placing an order, it goes through the CRM system. It gets passed on to the credit checking team, whether this customer is like credit worthy. It goes to your AP team, checking the inventory of the particular item, and then if it's available, send a PO to a shipment, and then like shipment will pick it up, tracking the shipment and so on and so forth. So by the time this existing customer was spending 30 days just for a single transaction. Okay, imagine if they had like hundreds and hundreds of transactions, and and their employees would be surely be burned out by the time that they're done with all these transactions. So this is a challenge that one of our customer had in a real life scenario. And then so let's look at a way that after the where they've actually implemented intelligent automation, what is the result, and then like what are the things that the customer got out of having a digital workforce augmenting the existing workforce. It's the same process. As you can see, it's the same. We're not changed any process steps or tasks. We have not changed the applications as well. So what we have done is, wherever you can see that little orange bubble coming up, is where we found the is perfect candidate for automation. Right? And then we have introduced robots in those pockets of tasks or processes. And with that, now the same transaction going through every single step, but still like human supervising, it's only taking 5 days, right? So we were doing the same thing for 30 days. And then like now with the automation, now you're able to achieve that in 5 days. It's massive gains. So you can do like 6 times more transactions. To put things in perspective, so let's say a full-time employee doing like 100 transactions end to end in a month. Now the same employee can actually do up to 600, right? So it actually scales up the productivity gains. Well, and does it stop there? Not really. So look at the customer point of view. I place an order. I used to get things in 30 days, and now I'm able to get things in 5 days, right? So you're increasing your customer experience, customer satisfaction, which will in turn is a positive effect. It's going to increase your CSAT score, your NPS, and so on and so forth, and make you much competitive in an already very competitive world, right? So this is just giving an idea of how you can utilize intelligent automation to really make things much faster, less error prone, and saving the time and giving benefits all around to the organization. Just giving, I want to give an example on an end-to-end process like this. Right, then let's how much is going to cost? The question again, another thing that we want to address today is, when we talk about automation, is it rocket science? Is it too hard to conceive? It's too hard to start implementing. Do I need a dedicated team, or do I need to outsource all the time? So all these kind of very important questions that come about when we talk to the customers. So the technology has matured to a level today where you can start automating within hours of ordering a particular automation tool, right? So it's all available as a cloud native, as a SaaS. Just like how you use a Gmail or a Facebook, you would just open up a browser and then you would, just type in, and then you have logged into your robotic control room, and then you can start executing your robots then and there. So it's become that convenient. How about developing these bots, right? So do we need a dedicated team, developers? No, the answer is absolutely no. So now the technology is so easy to use that anyone has a business experience using Excels, just using the ERP systems, using our drag and drop, low code, no code platform, they can build their own automations in no time, right? So it becomes much easier and simpler for compared with last 5 years before. Okay, so let's talk about the cost, and then really what is the effect that automation brings. Here is another classic example of invoice processing, but everybody on this call has a function of AP, right? Accounts payable, accounts receivable. A part of that is invoice processing. Imagine you are an organization, you have thousands of vendors, and everybody is coming out maybe coming out with their own invoices for your AP to settle. This is a classic. So you can see this is an actual study done by IOFM. And then as you can see, an organization that had very low level of automation, their full-time employee can handle up to 1,300 invoices per year, right? So that's their productivity. And then as the level of automation increased, in a very matured automated process, the same invoice processing, the same full-time employee is now able to achieve 22,000 transactions for the same amount of period, right? So that's amazing growth. It's up to 20 times more productivity gain is what we're talking about. Okay, that's great to know. How much is going to cost? What is the trade-off here? Actually, it's a negative trade-off. It's a positive trade-off, right? We all expected the negative one, but as you can see, the cost with the level of automation going up, the cost is also dramatically reduced. Almost 84% of the cost is reduced. How is that possible? It's possible because you are able to do much more with what you have existing workforce without adding a new workforce or leaving an existing workforce, right? So you're able to do that much more with your existing workforce. And there's no errors. So all the errors, everything is taken care by the robot, and the errors of reworks, everything is stopped. So we're actually becoming more and more lean, right, and efficient in our process. So all that contributed into this what we call 84% of savings. Cool. So this is a typical the invoice processing I was talking about. So I want to leave you with a particular a demo of our invoice processing, and how it's actually done end to end using our software. This is, as you can see, a vendor is sending an invoice for your organization to make a payment. So what we're going to do, what we're going to see is the invoice being picked up by the RPA, the robot, from an email, just like a human would do. It will classify that email as an invoice email, and then it will pass it on to a document processing robot called the IQ bot, which is going to extract information of interest from this particular invoice, and then it's going to pass it back to the RPA saying that, look, these are all the invoice details, right? Invoice date, invoice items, quantity, discounts, payment terms, and so on and so forth. So robot's going to take all the information from the CS3. It's going to log in into an SAP or any ERP, right? Could be Dynamics, could be Salesforce, could be Oracle, name it. And then the robot is going to go and log in and then create all these entries automatically. It's going to even check against your original PR, goods received notice, and making sure that there's no deviations, and everything checks out. It's going to send an email to the finance team. Okay, this invoice is good to go. You can make the payment, right? So there's an end-to-end, almost zero touch. I would say almost, because there are some cases where the validation fails. The invoices doesn't have the mandatory fields or data, and those are the things that we need humans still to help out the process. Okay, so very simple process. Let me play this video. I think I'll be coming to the end of my session, so I'll play this video first so you can see everything in action. Great. So I hope that video actually just in high level. So please reach out if you need more use cases, and I know you would like to see more of such demos. But again, I think we're just coming to the end of the session. Once again, thank you so much to VST ECS Philippines. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to share, our information and the trends that's happening right now in intelligent automation.